The original Ratchet and Clank game really stands out for its unique design, memorable characters, unique weapons, and its overall interesting gameplay. Hi, my name is RC3, and today I'm going to share about my favorite game, Ratchet and Clank from 2002. If you do like this content, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe. It really helps me out, lets the algorithm know that you are enjoying it. Anyway, let's get back to Ratchet and Clank 2002. The game starts out with Ratchet meeting Clank for the first time. Ratchet explains to Clank that he needs his ship fixed, and Clank mentions that he can fix it if Ratchet helps him locate Captain Qwark, who is the hero Clank needs to find to defeat Chairman Drek, basically a very evil land developer. They crash land on a planet called Novalis, where they are left wondering where to find a ship now. This leads to Ratchet and Clank finding a plumber who gives them the coordinates to planet Iridia. The infobot to planet Iridia explains that a famous raider named Skid McMarks crashed there with his agent, and Ratchet and Clank get the coordinates from this infobot. They also make their way down to where they find a mayor, and this mayor is grateful for Ratchet defending him from some enemies and lets him borrow his ship. Right away, I did notice some things with this game. For starters, this is the only Ratchet and Clank game without quick select pause. I mean, it's not really a big deal since the enemies really are not that difficult to defeat in this game, but it is still weird to get used to. This was an upgrade Insominac included in later Ratchet and Clank games, and it was extremely helpful. The graphics also do look a little bit dated, but I'm not going to judge the graphics too much because this game was released in 2002. This game was actually created to show off the PS2's hardware, and I think it did a beautiful job doing that. After Ratchet travels to Iridia to help Skid out, he obtains his hoverboard to ride in the hoverboard race on planet Rilgar. Meeting on the same planet with Skid's agent, Ratchet and Clank learn that Captain Qwark is demonstrating the prize, so they decide to enter to get the opportunity to speak to Qwark. I mean, I will mention planet Rilgar is also the planet with the cursed sewer level. You know, the one where the water constantly rises. Anyway, after winning the race on planet Rilgar, Captain Qwark explains he wants Ratchet and Clank to travel to Umbris for his training course. Ratchet reluctantly agrees, and after succeeding the training course, Ratchet and Clank soon learn that the entire thing was a trap from Qwark, and Drek actually sent Qwark to get rid of Ratchet and Clank. They get chased down by a giant, but after defeating him, Ratchet turns his back on Clank and remains extremely upset with him for a majority of the game. Every time Ratchet gets all angry with Clank, it reminds me Ratchet is a bit of a hothead. I understand Clank made a mistake, but come on man, you don't think it was intentional. Anyway, after all this happens, Ratchet and Clank find a military commando desperately needs help on planet Betrayal. Ratchet at this point was too determined to find Qwark, while Clank was much more focused on Chairman Drek. Meeting with the commando, he actually gives Ratchet and Clank an infobot to planet Orxon, and this planet is so polluted by the Blarg, Chairman Drek's own species, and Ratchet and Clank basically need to visit this planet to get the gravity boots, come back to Betrayal, and then go past the city walls to finish helping the commando. Planet Orxon does require multiple visits. We can come back as Ratchet, but we do have to get coordinates to a planet called Pokitaru to get the O2 mask. You do get the coordinates to Pokitaru through planet Orxon, but we have to travel there, get the O2 mask and the thruster back, and come back to planet Orxon to continue the story. After helping the commando, going past the city walls will lead to the plumber once again, who explains he is repairing a torrent to destroy Drek's ships. Ratchet agrees to help, which gets him a bolt detector. Honestly, I wasn't too sure what to think of this gadget at first, but I was entertained trying to find all the underground bolts. I was glad it did not make a comeback in future titles though. Ratchet also finds the pilot helmet as well, and to this day I cannot say for sure what it does. Ratchet and Clank soon make their way up to Gemlik Base, where they find Qwark again and manage to defeat him. After this, Ratchet soon learns that he is focused on the wrong target and Clank was right. Ratchet and Clank make amends and head off to Gorda City on Atlantis. This is somehow Qwark reappears again and tries to pass off as Steve. He does sell Ratchet a Gadgetron PDA, which is something, I suppose. Ratchet and Clank now travel back to Qwark, where Clank was born. They help a scientist there destroy an Ultimex, which leads to Kalibo 3, the headquarters of Gadgetron. Ratchet and Clank travel to Kalibo 3, which I can say is the prettiest planet in this game, and they meet with the CEO of Gadgetron. He explains he needs a star to represent Gadgetron in their line of hoverboards, and Ratchet volunteers. He of course tries out by entering a race and ends up winning the Hollow Guys. I wish I had more to say about the Hollow Guys, but you only get to use it a small handful of times in this game. It was almost pointless to include it at all in my opinion. They travel back to Clank's birthplace to infiltrate the factory since they couldn't originally enter it without the Hollow Guys, and find out Drek is about to destroy Ratchet's home planet Veldon with the deplanetizer. Of course this angers Ratchet, and they both head to Drek's fleet and find the location of the deplanetizer. Ratchet and Clank then counter Drek, where Drek admits that he was the one who polluted Orc's sun, and his motivation for building a new planet was only for profit. Ratchet and Clank go into battle with him, soon destroying the deplanetizer, Drek himself, and soon saving an entire galaxy. Clank does end up breaking his arm, but Ratchet does eventually offer to fix it, leading to a very sweet ending. Ratchet and Clank from 2002 was definitely fun, but in some ways it is definitely dated. For example, none of the weapons upgrade. You do get an opportunity to get the gold versions of the weapons in challenge mode, but the weapons do not upgrade throughout the game like in other Ratchet and Clank games. The aiming system is also terrible in this game. Aiming the blaster, for example, is extremely difficult. There also isn't a whole lot of ways to get bolts outside of just playing the game like in other titles. There are no arena challenges or anything like that, however there are races. There is a famous infinite bolt glitch players often do to get things like the Rhino early in games, but if you don't do that, getting bolts can be a bit annoying. Overall, I really love the original Ratchet and Clank game. It's got a charm to it like the newer games just don't have. I am kind of glad that they toned Ratchet's personality down in later games, but I still found all the characters enjoyable and entertaining. Ratchet and Clank is certainly a classic for a reason. If you haven't played it yet, you certainly need to soon. It's a blast.